Hello and welcome to Smile and Co's Coffee Chats. Today we have a special guest and we're super excited to welcome Andrea Roberts from Rascal HR with us today. She is incredibly knowledgeable. She has tons and tons of experience in the hiring and firing industry. And today we are going to talk A player versus C player. So yeah, Morgan.
Andrea, did you want to give us a little bit of information over here?
Sure, no problem. My name's Andrea Roberts. I've worked in HR for 30 some odd years, and I specialize in two different things. One is employment law, and the other one is building your dream team. I work a lot with dental practices, and I just absolutely love it. Yeah. So go ahead, ask any questions you want about A's, B's, and C's.
Thank you for joining us today, Andrea. We do have a ton of questions for you, but we also we value your time, so we'll try and keep it as limited as possible. But let's talk A players, because honestly, that's what everybody's looking for is their A team. So what would you say is the biggest difference between an A player to a B player to a C player?
A players are those employees that we never want them to leave. We want to stay. We want them to stay with us forever. They, don't need a lot of training. They never whine. They never gossip. They do the performance of two other people. They are our rock stars, and they're an absolute pleasure to work with. Our B players, great culture fit, but where B players are a little bit less than A players is that their performance just, is a little bit, less, but we want to keep them because they're great culture fits, and we can train sort of that, maybe any performance gaps. Our C players are those people who are not great culture fits. They tend to be a little whiny and gossipy, and their performance just doesn't cut it. And they are everywhere. And one of the things that I specialize is helping clinics define who are their A players, who are their B players, who are their C players. And once we've defined what they are, what do we do with them? And one of the things that is a really good indicator of if you have any C players, because life is too short for C players, that's my favorite saying, is ask yourself a question. How much time do you spend managing your people on the bad things compared to the good things? So we want to have our time as managers spent 90% of the time we want to spend on our A players or our rock stars. We want to do lunch and learns. We want to promote them. We want to have, lots of fun things. We want to influence them and motivate them. We want them to stay. A good indication is if you are spending the majority of your time on dealing with performance issues, absenteeism, lateness, gossip, you've got C players on your team. And every company, every clinic that I go into, where I start is that's the biggest headache for managers is I spend so much time. Why are they always late? Why are they always absent? Why are their, attitudes so bad? And the rule of thumb is you want to spend 90% of your time on your great people and 10% on managing your poor, or 0 is best. Where most clinics fall is they spend 90% of their management time on performance issues and 10% or 0 keeping their A players. And as a result, A players get fed up and they move on.
So true. And we actually spoke to this just last week about just like the toxicity in the office and just even like rewarding those A players, right? It's really cool to actually be able to call them, A players and recognize, each of the levels and maybe where you can kind of pour into people a little more. Or because I feel like often too, it's almost like when your kid, it's like, oh, you don't know how they're doing because you don't get a lot of feedback on them. Where like, if you have a kid that's maybe, constantly requiring the teacher's energy or attention, you always hear from them. So it may not, you may not actually know how you're doing. So maybe I guess it is something that would be wise to spend that time on that 90%, because oftentimes maybe that A player doesn't really feel valued, and they might not feel like, they're really being appreciated for what they have to offer and how easy they are as, a team and part of the dream team themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the biggest things that I hear And it drives me, nuts from a perspective of I'm there to help. I'm there to help how to, build the dream team. And I ask the same question to office manager or clinic owners, and I say, why do you keep C players on your team? And can you guess what the number one answer is?
It's easier than it's easier keeping them happy than to deal with the wrath of like what they'll put on you.
It's actually, I can't find any good employees is the answer that I get. Or I can't let them go until I find my player.
Yes, we hear that all the time too.
And so what happens is it just gets put off and put off and put off. And as a result, the C players, really start to affect your A's and your B's to the point where they leave because they're not getting the attention, they're not getting the support, the motivation, because you're spending all your time on your C players who are making your environment toxic. So your B's and your A's quit, and you're just left with your group of C players. Yeah. And now you're managing all your time on all of these issues. And I see it in almost all of the clinics that I work at. And you just gotta, I'm gonna say the biggest piece of advice I can give is rip the Band-Aid right off.
Yeah.
And, map out your staff. It's a super easy process to categorize them into, A, B's, or C's. And then what do we do with the A's? We motivate them, we coach them. What do we do with the B's? Great culture fit, but need a little bit more training. We train them and try to move them into A's. And what do we do with C's? We get rid of them. And there should be a no C rule in your clinic. And once you sort of map out a timeline, like if you've got 3 C players and you're like, okay, well, I can't fire all 3 in the next week, but I can do 1 a month. And you just make sure you stick to your deadline, you get rid of your C's, and then make sure you have proper recruiting processes in place so that you don't hire more.
Yeah, smart.
Yeah, and that's a topic for, how do we find those A players? That's a topic for, maybe the next one. So
yes, love that. Because that is huge, because I know a lot of people are looking for that, because say for the same thing, you chatted job descriptions, right? So when you're looking for somebody, the job description is key. But then also, I guess, how to, because say in our system with Smile & Company, they can put their job posting out, and then now applicants like will apply to the job, candidates will apply. And now they've got this list of candidates to go through. And I guess, yeah, that would be a great conversation to have in the future, because to look at their resume now. And we also have a video upload, so you can see a little bit of their personality, see a little bit of like their, how they would just interact even in like a 30-second clip, to see whether it's going to be a good fit. But I think, yeah, it would be great to chat more about like really diving into the resume versus like the job descriptions.
Yeah. And one key takeaway is for job descriptions, A players don't apply to lame job postings.
Ooh, fair.
Job posting is lame for candidates.
Oh, we're gonna have a newsletter on that, Andrea. From Andrea Roberts of Rascal HR. Team players will not apply to lame job postings. That's brilliant. Yeah.
And it's so true. So when you're putting a job posting together, if all you say is that you're hiring a dental assistant, how many A players actually want to come work for you? They know nothing about your company. They know nothing about what the job entails. There's nothing to entice them to apply for that job. So
that's totally true. And you should really put in something about, what you offer. What are your benefits? Your job as an office manager or owner to entice the A players is your job is a sales job. So your job is to sell your company, and just putting a job ad out is not enough.
Yeah.
Because you've got 5 other dental clinics within a 10-kilometer radius of you that are doing the exact same thing. So what makes you different? I think I shared this last weekend. We were at the dental conference, but one of my favorite job recruiting job post or job description under requirements, it said must be able to run an effective and profitable lemonade stand. And it was so cool, because if you're going to run a lemonade stand, what do you need to know? Product development.
Yeah.
Know your customers. You need marketing, and you need sales and accounting, right? Because you need to know if you're profitable. And so if you can run a lemonade stand, it means that you've got some good business acumen. And so my philosophy is, if it's not fun, I don't want to do it. So all my job descriptions for Rascal HR, when I post out there, they're weird. because I want people who think like I do, who love to have fun, who don't like gossip, who are super A players. So when I write job descriptions, I want to attract those people. And if I just write down I'm looking for an HR consultant, or, it's
Yeah,
boring.
lame.
I'm gonna get people that don't fit my culture apply for my job, and then I spend hours going through resumes that I'm never gonna want to hire these people. So yeah.
And I'm learning a lot right now too, just obviously like about like the laws, right? And the laws of the universe, and just law of attraction itself is so huge. And when you put that out there, right? Like who you are looking for, and the more descriptive that you are, the more that you're going to find like exactly who you're looking for. And don't be afraid of, maybe looking for, something so specific that you're worried that no one's going to apply, but to go with the hire slow, fire fast, and to be okay with it taking a while, having temps. That's a beautiful thing about dentistry, is that you can hire temporary positions very easily versus, and then you actually get to have them in your office. And it might even be the temp that applies to your quick position versus, the people that aren't applying to your job posting.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And one thing I know, I do a lot of recruiting for, medical and dental offices, and you guys are in the industry as well. Do you ever find that you put a posting out there and you get 200 applicants, and it's just sort of daunting? So here's a little trick about how A players can rise to the top, where you can see them right away and you don't need to sift through all the other ones. So whether it's old school or not, I do use it because for a couple of reasons. Is I ask for a cover letter. So in the job, right after, like, about the company, and then before I get into the job description, I write a little bit about that. I say, please include a cover letter with your application, and make sure to reference purple unicorns or purple monkey. Or whatever weird thing tickles your fancy. I either use purple unicorns. I'm looking for a purple unicorn.
Ooh, fair.
And because unicorns are rare, but purple ones are even rarer. So my A players are my purple unicorns. So of the 200 people, let's say it's 200 that apply for the job, I would say 1% follow the instructions. 1%. Mm-hmm. So I get two, maybe 4 people out of those hundreds that will, one, write a cover letter. And even those sometimes that write the cover letter don't reference purple unicorns. And so what have I learned? Those people, the A players, are going to put the time and effort in to actually write a proper cover letter, or something weird or funny or something about them. I don't care what it is. And then see how they weave in the word purple unicorns into the conversation. And every single person that does it, I found so far, has been an A player. And so when I start the recruiting process, I just ignore everybody else, because one, they didn't follow the instructions.
Yep.
And I was curious about this one. I got this applicant just recently who loved the resume, good experience, didn't write a cover letter. So I reached out to her and I'm just saying, I'm curious, why didn't you follow the instructions? And she lied to me. She said, oh, I did email it. I did upload it. I guess it just didn't work. She goes, I'll have it to you in an hour, which means that she was going to go write it.
Yeah.
That's okay. No worries. Thank you for your time. Bye.
Yeah. And if only she had just said, you know what? I thought it was an odd request and I didn't know how to respond to that. And I thought, like maybe it would have been better to send it as it is. But if you wait, I'll send, and you're like, all right, let's see what you got. Right. But
she was a potential C player who lies. So always
imitation.
Find your niche, find your if it's a lemonade stand, if it's purple unicorns, but make your job description or your job post unique so that you're attracting the right candidates.
Yeah.
The biggest piece of advice I can give. And the purple unicorn thing and the cover letter really works.
Yeah, I love that. It's hard to, I think, too, sometimes, hey, Morgan, where it's, the dental office is so busy, or they have, I guess there's like all these different personalities that might be the one that's actually posting the job versus like, the office. But I do think that, it would almost be like a fun especially when you've got your whole team working together, right? To be like, hey, we're gonna like write a job posting because we want this perfect person, because we all know how we all work better together when we have like the right team in place. And then it would be so fun as an office to sit and like kind of like, spend 20 minutes, grab Starbucks for the office, and let's sit here and put all the things that we think would be amazing for a team player, like a genuinely great team player, and be able to create a job description for that person where it's like, those keywords and those things that like, and it almost like it like changes the way that they will view the candidates as well, right? To see what's going to come in and how they're going to apply, and see who follows like through and stuff like that. Yeah, I think that's brilliant. And because I think in dentistry, we get complacent and we're like, oh, we just need a body.
Yeah.
But
And
you don't. It's
worst thing that you can do is just,
Yeah.
I need a warm body.
Yeah.
Because they will destroy your team and cost you so much money.
Mhm.
Give you a really, really cool little exercise to do for an office manager when you're looking for that culture fit is whiteboard it or on the wall or a piece of paper. And you don't need a whole team to do it. You probably don't want to use your whole team, but make a list on one side. You split the paper in half. Who are your best hires in the last couple of years? Just write their names down. On the other side is write a list of everybody you fired or everybody who's a C player and you want to go. And then next to each person's name, write one trait that describes them. So your A players are going to get, always get stuff done, treats customers great, happy to work with, never complains, whatever it is for next to each person. And then same with the C players or the people that you fired or have left, always late, bitches about everything, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Gives you a visual of your culture right there.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah. And then you can design your job description to match that culture fit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So lots of easy, quick little tips that you can do.
I love that. And then also, yeah, Andrea, because you have, so if anybody's looking to reach out to Andrea too, I think you've just created your Instagram page, but you're on LinkedIn. What are kind of like some of the ways that they can connect with you? Because I know you also had that whole chart where, how you find your A versus your C players, but you have it like, it's strategic. Like, it's not like it's, simple and basic. It is like, it's still simple, but it's like, there's a structure to really like narrow down the things about these people and how to really find them. So like, what are some ways, how to connect? Some things we can also include it in our posts, but just on here, like, what's the best ways for people to reach you?
So you can go to rascalhr.com, RASCAL, Rascal, just like because we're rascally and we're weird and do things differently. Plus, dealing in HR, sometimes the people we have to deal with are also rascals. And that's what So it's rascalhr.com, and then there's an info button. You can connect through me through that way. You can do Andrea at rascalhr.com. We're on Facebook as well and on Instagram.
Awesome. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us today, Andrea. And we are going to bring Andrea back again for another part of our series with her in the future. But if you need help with your HR, with your team, feel free to reach out to her. And yeah, have a wonderful day. Thanks for joining us.
And thanks for chatting all things like dental hiring. Awesome.
Have a great day, ladies.
Have a good day. You too. Cheers.